There. And I'll just go straight into the intro and we'll take off from there, okay?
Alrighty.
Welcome back, everybody, to another noisy edition of 30 Videos in 30 Days with your host, Jason Dyer. It is Deep Video's parallel effort to go alongside our Indiegogo campaign to try to get ourselves down to Austin, Texas, July 29th through the 31st. This is quickly approaching, you guys, so that we can attend the Worker Cooperative National Conference and do everything that we can to legitimately bring Dallas-Fort Worth worker-owned cooperatives. The goal of this series is to speak with people who contribute directly to the local, what would be called the local artist scene, be that musicians, physical medium, otherwise. And tonight we are shooting on top of a rooftop. What is the name of this place? Shit. And tonight we're shooting on the roof of a dance club in Deep Ellum. You can see the Sheraton in the background. We're kind of catty-cornered to the chaotic world over there. And I am joined tonight by Ryan Javier. Ryan, let these folks know what you do, man.
Yeah, I'm a photojournalist. I work for about half a dozen magazines in town, and then I also have my own DBA, where I do the normal fare of weddings, portraits, headshots, that kind of stuff. But what I mainly do, my bread and butter, is music journalism. Concert photographer. That's 90% of what I shoot are concerts.
Right on. How long have you been doing that?
I've been doing that about 2 years, man.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Oh, have you been a photographer for longer than 2 years?
No.
Okay,
maybe a few months before. I just kind of
Right
fell
on.
into it. I shot for the Meyerson Symphony Center as part of their 25th anniversary
Right on,
deal.
man.
They had a community outreach where they brought local Instagrammers in, and I just bought a brand new camera, and so they liked what they had seen, and from that job, it got me the state fair, and so that was really my first gig.
So the good news is that while we do have dance music, I think that these microphones are going to be shaped well enough that as long as we're eating them, we won't pick up
so
too
we
much
can actually
bleed. So that should be fine.
That's the.
Unless he's going to do that.
You wanna talk to him and maybe see if we can,
Sure. Give me just 1 second.
it never hurts to ask. He said he wouldn't do anything tonight up here. Okay, all right. As long as it's not a problem for you, then we can just go back. We can just back up a little bit. Far out. All right, we'll take it back.
Yeah, we'll be all right. And scene.
All right, so how I got started in the business was I had been on Instagram for a while, and the Meyerson Symphony Center, they had their 25th anniversary a couple of years ago.
It is hot tonight, you guys. What the fuck?
Some shit's going down.
Right.
All right, here we go. Okay, so yeah, how I got started in concert photography was I got invited. Some local Instagrammers in Dallas had got invited to the Meyerson Symphony Center as part of their 25th anniversary. They wanted some Instagrammers, some social media kids to come in and take pictures of the symphony hall and all that. And I was one of them. I just recently bought a camera, took some pictures. They contacted me a few weeks later wanting to use the photos in their marketing materials. And then from that job led me to the state fair. And I shot for them for the 2014 fair, and that was pretty much my photography course. That's where I learned
Right on.
how to shoot. It was kind of like a trial by fire.
Was
deal.
that all directly like with the organizations themselves?
Yeah, I reported directly to the president of the marketing department for the state
Wow,
fair.
right on, man.
And so pretty much all their promotional materials for the 2015 fair that I shot 2014, that was most of the stills were mine.
Right on.
So yeah, it was pretty rad, but it was such a great experience to work with them and work with Fair Park Dallas and also visit Dallas. And I learned so much because it was, like 20-something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. That's fine. You're doing great.
Sorry,
No, it's cool. I could tweak knobs, but I'm afraid that I might blow it out with something
Okay.
else. So just a reminder.
All right. Yeah, but anyway, it was basically my crash course in photography because you shoot daylight, nighttime, inside, out. There's concerts, so I kind of got the base of my skills doing that, and then I did a couple gigs in the fall, and then January the Observer wanted me to do the Artopia deal.
Oh, right on.
So I was out there with them, and ran into two editors from a local magazine.
Nice.
And they had seen some of my stuff, and then that led to being hired with the first magazine, and then after that it was one right after the other.
More and more and more.
Yeah, it just kind of.
So do you go out on
everything fell into place.
assignment crafted toward the publication that wants the gig, or are you just kind of shooting and then you go, I know this mag needs these photos and this mag needs those photos?
Both.
Okay.
Both, yeah. It's just because there's a lot of local publications, but they're all heavily staffed.
Sure.
So there's a lot of sharks in the tank.
Right.
So, if you're just there, one publication, you may get 1 or 2 assignments a month.
Right.
That's not enough to live on. That's not enough to fill your portfolio
Right.
or get experience. So what I would do would take the initiative, go out and find stories. Go out and shoot a local show, and then write it up, and then shop it to a magazine,
Right on.
And then that led to a lot of work. But
so when you say write it up, are you doing like an encapsulation or like a short copy of the event itself? Is that what you're providing to them?
Yeah, but I mean,
Okay.
if the band is cool enough to talk to me,
Right.
I try to meet them after the show at the merch table and say, you guys can
Right
talk
on.
to me for 5 minutes. If I can get an interview out of it, I will.
Right on, man.
I mean, that's all the more better. I mean, 300 or 800 words is better than 300 words.
Right, exactly.
Because a lot of times you get paid by the word.
Okay. So you get to, that sounds like you have a chance to really kind of craft the story you want to tell and then find the right place for it to live.
To a certain extent.
Okay.
I mean, it really depends on the editor that you're working with. Some of them give you a lot more free reign, and some of them kind of limit you on what you can and can't say.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's
So after all this time doing that
Yeah.
stuff in the local scene, have you considered doing it on your own or trying to branch out with an independent publication?
No, not really. Just because working for so many different outlets, I've seen how difficult and stressful it is running your own publication.
Right.
That I'm not ready to take that next leap, take that challenge. I
hear
enjoy working for 6 different bosses, and it provides me enough outlets. Like I say, everybody's
Right.
different. Some people will take more edgier stuff than others.
Sure.
So having such a wide variety to choose from, who I choose to dish material out to, that's
pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, it's working out good so far. So yeah.
Right on. Okay. Do you have any kind of words of caution about maybe losing access or rights or even recognition for some work that you've done in the local environment?
Yeah, I mean, there's many bands will use my photos for their musicians will use their profile pictures on social media,
Oh,
or the
right,
bands
yeah.
will use it on the band page. Sometimes they give me credit, sometimes they don't. In those matters, like I'm shooting a local band, I'm making my money off the article.
Right,
The pictures that's just a side thing,
Yeah.
And I give them to the bands as in order to cement friendships and build bridges.
Right.
Because the way I look at it is, favors will get you a long way in this town, right?
Right.
So if you do something nice for somebody, it'll pay off in the long run. A lot of people talk about working for free and the homeboy hookup and all that. I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
Like if you're contracting me, if you're hiring me to shoot your band's photos, like I'm gonna charge you the same that I charge the next band.
Sure. Okay.
Because the way I look at it, if you're my friend, if you're my homeboy, then you understand that I have to eat, that I
Right,
got
okay,
bills
fair.
to pay. So you're not gonna want to shortchange your friend, right?
Right. I hear you.
So now if the job gets done and we had a good time and you took care of me and all that, and I choose to give you a discount at the end of the day, then
I got
that's
you.
awesome. But
Right.
I don't automatically do that. But going back to what you're saying about people stealing photos and stuff, the
Right.
local bands, I just give them the photos.
Okay.
Because I know that it'll pay off in the long run. Maybe they'll tell their friends about me or
Right.
something, or they're Their friends will see the
Or
picture
maybe
on.
you get booked for like one of the bigger events. that goes through
Exactly,
Deep
exactly.
Ellum.
And then to where it's actually real money.
Right.
But when I do shoot the larger shows for the big publications, there are contracts, there are rights agreements that you have to
Okay.
sign, and everyone's different about where you can and can't use the pictures.
Okay.
A lot of times when I'm on assignment, musicians will come up to me, they'll see the camera, they're like, hey, can we buy pictures? I'm like, no, these belong to the magazine.
Oh, okay. All
And
right.
that's one of the things about this business is you have to maintain that journalistic integrity.
Sure.
And if someone sends you somewhere, they're paying you to take pictures for them.
Right,
You don't
yeah.
have the right to sell those pictures to somebody else or do what you want
Right,
with
even
them.
if it is the subject that's on the thing, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
But no, I've never had any issues when it's a major label act, when it's a big deal. I'll watermark pictures. I'll
Right.
make sure that I embed IPTC. I believe IPTC is the most important thing that you can do.
Say again, IPC?
IPTC data.
Okay.
It's the International Press Corps data.
Okay.
And it's part of the EXIF metadata. And if you have
Okay.
Photoshop, you just open it up, file info, IPTC, and it's 3 fields.
Okay.
And that's where you fill out your name, copyright info, and I work with wire services overseas, so it's mandatory that we fill out that because that's all the data of the who, what, when, where, and why about
Right.
the photograph. And so, but I do that with regional publications as well, just as a safeguard.
Okay. Right on, man. That's
Yeah.
a good practice. That's something I'm coming from the.
I mean, people can crop out your watermark, but the metadata
yeah.
is there. That's you look at Hawaii the other day. They got busted for using a picture that was shot with a Canon 5D Mark III, and they were
Okay.
saying it was shot with their P9 cell phone. Well, the reason why they got caught is because the IPTC, the metadata, the
it
EXIF
showed
is
what actual physical cam was shot.
exactly. Yeah.
That sucks to get caught that way.
I enter that stuff more than I would take the time to watermark.
Okay, right on. That's a good note, man.
So yeah.
Let me ask, do you have, I mean, that sounds like great advice for an up-and-coming concert photographer right there.
Sure,
But
yeah.
do you have anything that you'd like to add on top of that you'd like to warn the next kids about?
Like as far as the business or as far as like how?
Yeah, I would say either business or the interpersonal intricacies of negotiating. You know?
Yeah, well, I mean, the best thing to do is, I mean, if you can't partner with a publication that can get you into shows, if you're trying to get into shows, the best thing to do is go out and shoot local shows.
Yeah.
Shoot as much as you can. Get out there, meet the people, meet the musicians, and hang out with these guys. You know, have a drink with them, get to know them, because that's going to form the foundation. Okay? Because if you can shoot in a shitty little club in Deep Ellum, then you can shoot in American Airlines. You can shoot
Sure.
Gexa, because that's the whole hard thing about this business is dealing with the lighting.
Right.
That's
yeah.
going to be the challenge.
Well, would you agree that there's been a nice increase in quality of lighting and sound in Deep Ellum venues?
There
over the
certainly
last
has,
year or
yes. Judging from, you know, I'm only like 36 years old, so I can only date back to the 90s. But
Sure.
going back from then to where it is now, yes, there's been a
Right.
huge, you know, the clubs are actually starting to respond to that they need lighting and good sound systems in order
Right.
to bring the crowds in, right?
Right.
And so they've kind of taken notice of that. In the last 10 years, you've seen a whole bunch of these clubs and venues down here in Deep Ellum have actually redone
Right.
their entire lighting and sound systems.
Let's see. Before being invited to be part of this creator series, had you heard of a worker-owned cooperative before? And by that I mean a cooperative is a business entity that is owned and operated by all the members that would use its goods or services. So the best example, easiest example would be like a brew pub or like a dance hall like we're kind of at now, right?
Yeah.
And everybody working there would own a share in that company and hope to see it progress and make, you know, all that stuff. Had you heard of that before being invited to this?
Not here in Dallas and not in this context, but
Okay.
I'm aware of the concept as far as like communal gardens are concerned. You know, like
Sure.
community gardens that they have in like the inner city and shit.
Right.
That kind of concept of everybody kind of contributing together and then sharing in the bounty and that kind of
Right.
thing.
It's
Yeah.
something similar. The idea would be, you know, you put together a crack team of people that would be needed to execute a thing. So
Sure.
in our business model, it would be providing photos, audio, visual services for artists and such throughout Dallas, Fort Worth, Denton, etc.
Yeah.
And the idea being that whenever we get hired for that service, the company gains cash, right? And then as it gains in this cash, everybody who's working and owns part of the company is gaining that equity in the form of the share.
That's
but more than that, it's completely democratically operated. So there's not a boss. There's not an opportunity for this shit to get sold out to the next publication.
Right on.
Because everything is owned by the people working on it. So after having heard that, does that sound completely insane? Does that sound out of place?
No, I mean that actually sounds very, very appealing. I mean, I don't know if that would work. I mean, I've never heard anything like that, but
I know that in Texas, in Austin, Texas, there are 2 brew pubs.
To where it's like profit sharing and everybody's like,
well, see,
like
that's
equal.
There's some tricky crap there with terminology, right? Because technically speaking, a cooperative is considered nonprofit. And so you never use the profit sharing term. It's just it's referred to instead as surplus.
Gotcha.
Right. So the concept is we come up with a budget. Well, we need to spend X amount on this.
Sure.
We need to budget this amount on that. And then if we can make the money back, then we have the surplus. And then we would, as a group, decide what to do with the surplus. Do we need new gear? Do we need a physical location? Do we need to pay ourselves fucking more money? Like, all of that comes into play with it, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have a solid existing business model, a functional real-world business model for a cooperative to ever attempt to work. And so that's the other challenge of this shit, beyond just the idea of the cooperative and making that work, is creating this revolving cash flow for guys like me and you.
Yeah, right on.
We can get in and provide services to bands that we will already work with, but in a way that really does turn cash flow for all parties involved. So
well, there's a kind of core group of concert photographers in this city, and we kind of all work in conjunction with one another. And yeah, we shoot shows at night, but during the day we all have other gigs that we shoot the normal fare, you know, like weddings, portraits, senior pictures, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And so anytime there's a gig that, say, like, I'm already booked for that date, or it's not something I want to do, then I immediately got 3 or 4 people that I can call and give it to, and vice versa. So what you're describing is kind of like that, what we already got going on, but you seem to have it more organized.
Well, I'm trying to give a proper sense of ownership.
Yeah, most definitely, yeah.
Well, let's see. I'm trying to think. I'll go ahead. Okay, so Paul's not here tonight. Paul's the other guy that usually does the interviews with me.
Okay.
And Paul usually has this set of awkward, like, bone-chilling questions. It's not that bad.
Yeah, no, you throw whatever you want at me now.
I'm gonna throw out what piece of equipment as a photographer what piece of equipment have you purchased that cost $100 or less that made the most difference in your kit?
Oh my God, a shutter remote.
A shutter remote.
I bought a remote control, a wireless remote, Nikon remote on eBay for 37 cents.
Right on.
And it was the greatest thing I ever bought, because at night I like to take long exposures of the city, right? And a long exposure, if you don't know, you have to set your camera on a tripod. And normally you'd have to buy like a $40, $50 remote that has a wire tethered to it and press the button, because if you use the camera shutter button, just pressing it down, that tiny bit of vibration is enough to fuck your picture up.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
So a 37-cent wireless remote on eBay from China, and now I can stand 20 feet back, set my camera up, get gorgeous landscape pictures, long exposures, fucking highway shots, all that, click of a button. Yeah, that is the greatest purchase I ever made. Yes.
Awesome. All right, let me ask you, when you think of the word success, who comes to mind?
The Ben Fong Torres, Rolling Stone magazine.
Okay, right on, man.
Yeah.
So you've been in this for 2 years, and that's pretty awesome. What I'm hearing at the end of this interview, right?
Yeah.
Is that not only are you new, but you're all in it, man. Like, you're all the way in.
Well, like, I didn't go to college. I joined the Army. I didn't go to photography school. It just one job happened right after the other. I didn't have enough time to stop and think about it. I didn't have enough time to be scared. It was really what it was.
Okay.
And then by the time a few months rolled by, I was so deep in it that I was like, I guess I'm a photographer.
Yeah, right. I guess I'm doing the thing.
I mean, I'm getting paychecks and my shit's been published. So And then after that, then that's when I kind of honed my skill and stuff.
Right on.
But yeah, it just happened so fast, man. But that's the way. My good friend Ty Perkins did one of these the other day, and he spoke about they talk about music videos and shit. He said, don't go to school. That's a fucking waste of money.
Right.
I believe that it's everybody. School does help kids.
Right. Yeah.
And it can help you, but it's not for everybody. It wasn't for me.
Right. Okay.
It was easier for me to just grab a camera and be pushed into a photo pit
and start doing.
And say, here, do it.
Yeah.
And learn but I tell you what, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for other photographers.
Right on, man.
The other shooters in this city are such great guys that if it wasn't for them answering my stupid ass questions and putting up with my, annoying the shit out of them and why this, why that, I would not be where I'm at today.
Right on, man.
So I try to help people. I try to pay it forward as much as I can. Because
awesome.
If it wasn't for the other guys, I would not be as successful as I am today.
Right on, man. That's a nice, humble way to come at it, too. That's a good way to approach it. Well, where would you like to send the audience? Where could you send people to look at your photography, to hire you for the next gig?
I really don't promote my own work.
Okay.
I've kind of to the point where I get enough jobs word of mouth. I got a couple websites. I've got a Flickr account. I've got social media. But the best thing you can do is to like and follow Deep Video. Make sure you subscribe to their YouTube channel. And if you click on their YouTube channel, there's links for their Facebook, Flickr, all their social media. Like and subscribe to those guys.
Thank you, sir.
Because that's what it's all about, man. It's a brotherhood. We're all together. If you Google me, if you really want to find my stuff, you can Google me. I'm out there.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again, Mr. Ryan Javier, for joining us on the rooftop.
It was my pleasure, man. I had a great time. I really appreciate you guys having me on. And I wish the best for you guys, and I'm looking forward to working with you guys, man.
Oh, absolutely. We got some stuff coming down the pipeline, so I'll plug some work, some impending work. We've got our first Deep Video Showcase, a full video showcase coming up in September, and I'm committed to having you on some way, form, or fashion.
Yes,
we'll talk
sir.
Details in a moment. And I got a tip for you on a really hot concert coming in Halloween.
Oh, far
There's
out,
a
dude.
band that does this badass video projection on stage with like a 12-piece band.
Oh, wow.
It sounds a little bit like Maynard's fourth band.
Yeah.
And it's called Come in Your Costume. So there's going to be furries and drag and all kinds of stuff. It's at the Green Elephant in near SMU on Dyer Street.
Yeah.
But I'll get you those details, too, because that'd be some fun shit to get some photos
Far
of.
out, brother. Yeah, I'm totally down, man.
Absolutely. Otherwise, listen, thanks for tuning in for another episode of 30 Videos in 30 Days with Deep Video. I've been your host, Jason Dyer. We're shooting from a rooftop. I hope you guys are enjoying this shot as much as we are right now. Please check us out on Indiegogo. Just search for Cooperatives Dallas. You can find us there. Otherwise, it's deepvideo at Gmail. Actually, deepvideobooking at gmail.com if you'd like to tell us how bad the show is. To take a look at how we are learning to utilize cameras to become on the level of Mr. Ryan Javier, you can find us on Instagram, where we could not afford the last two letters of the handle at DeepVid. Otherwise, tune in at YouTube at Deep Video Live. Thanks again, guys. Have a good night.
Bye-bye, guys.